Hello aspiring designers, I am back for another video. I know it's been a long time and a lot of people have asked me when am I going to upload another video. It is summertime for me, so my schedule is a little bit different during the summer, but I wanted to squeeze in a new video because I know it's been a while, and I wanted to share this technique that I think a lot of you are going to appreciate, and it's probably something that you're not even familiar with. Even if you've been sewing a while, you might not even know about it. And if you do know about this, you're probably not really clear on how to use this product. Okay, so what's this mysterious product? It's beeswax. Now, this is the type of beeswax that you would purchase at your local sewing supply store or online that sells any type of sewing stuff. It's the Dritz brand. Now, I am actually not a fan of this product because it has a bunch of other fillers in it and it's not 100% beeswax, and it actually doesn't really take care of the problem that usually happens when you hand sew, which is tangling and knotting. So I went out on a mission and I wanted to share what I found. I'm in Southern California, for those who don't know. I'm right outside the Los Angeles area and we have a lot of agriculture around here. I reached out to a beekeeping family who produces their own honey, and I thought, you know, how can I use maybe some real beeswax to hand sew? And I've heard of this before, and I have seen other seamstresses and couture designers actually use this, but it's something that's a little bit harder to find. So I reached out to them and I was able to get real beeswax. Obviously you can tell by the shape of it, it's actually something that they weren't really selling, but because I told them what I needed it for, they were gracious enough to accommodate my needs, and I purchased a couple of pieces from them. So real beeswax smells delicious. It smells like honey. It's soft and it's a lot easier to thread, to pull the thread through it, and you can warm it up with your hand so that you can get it ready for threading. Now the store-bought is not like that. It's a little bit more rough, and it actually feels dry now because I've had it in this case, and technically I probably should have had it in another baggie to keep it from drying out, but you can actually see the color difference. Look at how pale this one is compared to the real beeswax. Now it really made a big difference when I tested it out, and I love the concept. Just a side note though, if you are allergic to honey, I probably would stay away from anything like this because you might be allergic, you might get a reaction, I don't know. So I just giving you a warning. If you happen to be allergic, maybe it wouldn't be such a good idea. Then you might have to be stuck with using a product like this, or maybe coming up with another solution so that you can get the same effect. So I'm going to show you how to just in general how to use beeswax, whether you have this or whether you have a good quality beeswax. So let's get started. I'm going to head over to the ironing board and I'm going to show you all the steps on how to use this beeswax so that you can hand sew and get better results. Okay, so now I'm at my ironing board. One of the first things you're going to need is obviously an iron. You want to make sure that your steam setting is shut off. You actually do not want the steam setting on it. You want your beeswax, and I also have 4 sheets of muslin, and they are actually put together by 2. So I have 2 here and then I have 2 here. You can also use paper towels for this when you are going to be adding wax to your thread, and the reason why is because the beeswax is going to melt and you don't want that on your ironing board and you don't want to ruin it. It's going to become messy really quick. So this is basically just to protect your iron and your ironing board so that the wax doesn't get real messy. So you want 2 pieces. I have layered it so that it absorbs anything that comes off the thread. Like I said, you can also use paper towels so that it absorbs it into the paper towel as well. Now I'm going to pull some thread out. You pull out as much as you need. I'm going to just do about that much, and then I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to clip that off. Here's my beeswax, and this is actually very soft. Even if you have the other kind, you can also fold it in half, or even if you single thread it, it's just fine. But for me, so it doesn't snap, I'm just going to pull it right through, and you can already see how soft that is. it's letting me pull it through really easily. I'm going to pull it the other way. And I can already tell there's wax in it. It gets pretty stringy because it has wax inside. Now the trick to doing this properly is to put the thread in between these two layers, and you're going to feed it through. I'm going to lay it down right here. Put this layer on top. Double check and make sure that your iron has a steam setting off, shut off. And then with the other hand, I'm going to pull it through. And the reason why you want to put the iron on it is you're locking in that wax. It's kind of melting and getting into those fibers, so it doesn't feel rough and stringy. I'm just pulling it through. You're basically melting it. Okay, now that actually feels different. It doesn't feel rough anymore. Now you're ready to actually hand sew. So I'm going to feed it through. I'm just going to show you how to hand stitch once your thread has been set with beeswax. This is just a quick demonstration, just so that you can see how easy it sews right through when you use real beeswax. I'm just doing a simple catch stitch, and then I'm going to pull it all the way through so you can see that it doesn't tangle. And there you go. It's an easy technique. I highly recommend it if you're doing a lot of hand stitching, especially if you're getting into dressmaking, where hand stitching is a very big technique that you will do, especially for hems and finishing the inside of garments. It's something that you're going to do a lot. So I highly recommend that you learn this technique, practice it by setting your beeswax with heat and then hand stitching it through. It makes a huge difference. If you have access to real beeswax, I highly recommend that you get it. If not, and you're too far from anywhere that's accessible, just continue using the same beeswax that you have in your studio or the one that's available in stores, but you can apply the techniques that I showed you in this video to that product. It's the same techniques. So that should improve your results if you've never done those few techniques that I showed you at the ironing board. Go ahead and give it a try. Use pieces of swatches just to kind of practice before you do it on a real garment, and you'll see the difference and you'll feel the difference between using beeswax and not using any at all, or between the difference in using real beeswax and the store-bought beeswax. So let me know in the comments what you think, if it's something that you can apply, or maybe you were using the technique totally wrong and this kind of helped break any doubts that you had, or maybe you learned something new. Make sure you subscribe, you like this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.